Should've better fucking known better, huh? I put out a video singing the praises of Patron Mexican Grill, only for the universe to throw this shit in my face. Now listen to me, shit! Tex-Mex or Arc-Mex or whatever you want to call it is always somewhere between a 4 to 6 out of 10. Almost never great, but equally almost never shit. Except for today. Because today I'm going to tell you about Tio's Mexican Restaurant. Tio's is in a part of Conway I'd never go to, and it looks like none of you have either. There's empty office buildings that may technically be occupied but look like they aren't. A tattoo parlor I would never trust. A Domino's pizza, which is strangely fitting, and Tio's Mexican Restaurant. The surrounding area is a wasteland. The sort of place that looks like it invented sadness. So we go in and are greeted to a neon sign that is advertising specials and blinking so rapidly that it seems like an assault on people with epilepsy. And I'm still not sure if it was broken or working as expected. We order our food. Mrs. Raiden opts for the standard chili relleno and taco combo, while at this point I am desperate to have Mexican food that isn't nachos or enchiladas. So I order the Pollo Rico, a char-grilled chicken breast topped with a creamy chipotle sauce. Then we wait for our food, but then it shows up not even 30 seconds later. Now look, I know this is pretty typical for a lot of Mexican food, but I've ordered what is at least promising to be a grilled chicken breast. Meaning this grilled chicken breast is definitely not a recently grilled chicken breast. All I'm saying is, if you're not making anything fresh, you should at least pretend that you are. Maybe wait an extra minute before rushing the food out the door. So I've got my grilled chicken with creamy chipotle sauce, rice and beans, and tortillas. And this plate of food is as dead as the part of Conway it came from. I don't know exactly what I expected a chipotle cream sauce to taste like, but not a goddamn thing was towards the bottom of the list. A chipotle is a smoked chili pepper. It's extremely pungent and potent. So how exactly you make a sauce with it without it tasting like anything is beyond my understanding. The chicken and mushrooms were nicely grilled, albeit at some point in recent memory, but the problem was that they were nicely grilled on a grill that wasn't nicely cleaned. So I was still tasting a dirty grill about an hour after we left. Mrs. Rain reported that the sauce on her chili relleno tasted nice, but that was a diamond in the rough. She said the actual chili relleno tasted old and stale, especially the batter it was fried in. And that is Tio's Mexican Restaurant in a nutshell. Everything tastes old, stale, possibly dirty, and poorly seasoned. It is the antithesis to Patron. Not worth your time, which you don't have to worry about because why would you ever go to that part of town? Gross. Never going back. 3 out of 10. Alright, look, I hate Arby's, you hate Arby's. But occasionally Mrs. Raiden gets a hankering for their mozzarella sticks and asks if I want anything. I took a peek at their menu and saw that at some point someone at Arby's HQ decided it was a good idea to start making cheeseburgers, which is like your 84-year-old grandmother with diminished lung capacity and an artificial hip deciding she's going to start her MMA fighting career. Arby's sells roast beef sandwiches, despite having neither the capacity or desire to roast beef in their restaurants. Looking online, I can find no evidence of any Arby's anywhere even having a grill, which should make this cheeseburger a goddamn travesty worthy of another review. And it was! Shocking, I know. I ordered the Arby's double barbecue bacon burger, and it was an utter travesty in a way I never knew possible. You already knew they weren't grilling fresh patties back there, but this patty was some sort of weird, experimental sort of utterly atrocious. You know how when you bite into a hot dog, you sort of snap through the hot dog casing before reaching the soft, gelatinous meat glue inside? This was exactly like that, only it's a fucking burger, so it was utterly shocking. But that's okay, you see, because Arby's hopes you don't notice this disgusting mess by slathering the most sugar-addled barbecue sauce you can possibly imagine all over it. So you can't taste the actual war crime of a burger patty they've created. I'm being dead serious when I say that any cheeseburger you'd find at any gas station or truck stop that you chuck into a microwave and hork down because you're tired, on the road, and don't give a fuck is miles better than whatever the fuck Arby's is calling a burger. 1 out of 10. The Big Orange is located in Little Rock, but I want to talk about it. It's only 30 minutes away. Grow up! Why don't you quit playing the damn video games and do something with your life? You think that nice cashier who smiles at you sometimes is ever going to want to date someone who collects Funko Pop dolls and smells like dried piss?
What the hell was that?
Anyway, we had a gift card someone got us at some point, but it got lost, and we found it and drove to Little Rock to check out Big Orange Burger, which is located at some weird outdoor mall that doesn't have the charm of a mall. We sat down and shared 2 sandwiches, an order of fries, and 1 milkshake, and were then given a bill for $57 fucking dollars. So before getting into how the food was, I'll spoil the ending and announce that in no fucking world is Big Orange worth the price of admission. I ordered the white truffle and pecorino burger, which allegedly came topped with pecorino cheese, arugula, fig jam, white truffle, and garlic mayo. Now to start, white truffles on average cost about $500 an ounce. So if you think they put white truffle on this burger, then you are even stupider than I already thought you were. They put white truffle oil on it, which is about as close to a white truffle as Conway is to fucking Mars. The fig jam was pretty tasty, as was the arugula, but pecorino is a strange choice, what with it being a mild, tangy cheese that was decidedly drowned out by the other bold flavors. I think something like gorgonzola would have been beautiful here, but what do I know? Mrs. Radin got their hot spicy fried chicken sandwich, which admittedly was tasty and packed a decent amount of heat. But to share, we got an order of their signature State Fair fries, which came topped with chili, cheese dip, 2 other kinds of cheese, pickled jalapenos, fresh jalapenos, and red onion. And it was all fucking horrible, because nothing from the fries to the chili tasted like it had been seasoned. Hand to God, I don't know how you can make this many ingredients taste like absolutely nothing, but by God, Big Orange found a way. We also got a Whopper malt milkshake, mostly to use up what was left on our gift card. And again, I honest to God don't know how it is possible to make something taste like nothing. It was like someone took a vanilla milkshake and added 2 more cups of milk. Compared to a place like Andy's Frozen Custard, it was downright shameful for an establishment that has an entire page on their menu dedicated to milkshakes to make one this awful. Not that it's a surprise, but Big Orange is not worth the half-hour drive, let alone the exorbitant prices they charge. Their menu is dressed up with fancy ingredients like white truffle, pecorino, and arugula, but it all just sucks. I'd take Red Robin any day and twice on Sunday. 2 out of 10. You know, a lot of the feedback I get on social media about these reviews is like, what's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? Well, I hope this explains it because I am a proud native of Philadelphia, and my Eagles just beat the ever-living fucking shit out of the Kansas City Chiefs. We're the world champs, and you can all suck my balls and kiss the sweatiest part of my ass. Now, let's review a cheesesteak because Bulgogi, the popular local Korean restaurant, alleges to have something called a Korean cheesesteak sandwich. Alarm bells immediately start going off because you don't need to have the word sandwich. It's like saying pizza pie. Nobody says that. Now, the menu says you can choose from steak, spicy pork, or chicken. And I'll allow that since chicken cheesesteaks were always popular in Philly growing up, even if I was never a fan. The sandwich came on a pretty okay roll, though nowhere near what I would call a good Italian roll. The meat had been dressed with some kind of Korean sauce, sweet, savory, probably has a good amount of soy in there. Again, I'm perfectly fine with this. People put ketchup and mayo on their cheesesteaks, and I think people who try to police what other people enjoy are just obsessive morons whose immediate family can't stand the sight of them. No, the issue I have with Bulgogi's Korean cheesesteak is that it isn't very cheesy. I mean, look at this absolute unit. This is a real deal Holyfield cheesesteak. This is a tasty sandwich. A perfectly fine lunch, but not what I would consider an actual cheesesteak. Still 6 out of 10 though. And at last we've arrived at what is, quite possibly, my most controversial take ever. So a few years ago, Mrs. Radin and I flew back home to spend some time with our families. At the end of our trip, we had an early flight out of Philly and had booked a hotel room for the night. The problem was the hotel lost our reservation, and with the Phillies and Eagles game at the sports complex that day, we were shit out of luck. We had no place to go for several hours before we had to be at the airport. So we did the only thing we could think to do. We went to Denny's, got some coffee, got a milkshake, got some cheese fries, and worked on our laptops using the Wi-Fi until it was time to head off. A couple years later, we were, again, flying back home to see family. This time, our trip involved flying up to Seattle, where we would spend the night at a hotel, and then catch an early flight back east. Our initial flight was delayed, which meant sitting on a plane on the runway for more than an hour. By the time we landed in Seattle, we only had 5 hours to get to our hotel, sleep for a bit, and head back to the airport. We were tired, miserable, and hungry. But when we arrived at our hotel, we immediately spotted something familiar waiting for us in the parking lot. A Denny's sign. We checked in and walked over, where a hot cup of coffee and some cheese fries awaited us. Now the point of all this is this. You know how people, particularly in the South, have a deep affection for the Waffle House? A profound connection to a place that is just always there, always dependable. Well, as much as I appreciate the Waffle House for what it is, I simply don't have that connection to it. I don't have any hard times or tough nights, where the welcoming embrace of a Waffle House was the light that shone through the dark. But I do understand it when you change the context to Denny's. Is Denny's good? Hell no! Is it a place where wild shit happens? Hell yes. Is it a place that I will have a blind spot for? Because it has always been there for me when I need someplace warm and dry to unpack my tired mind and get some cheese fries and coffee at 3 a.m. 6 out of 10. That's gonna do it for this go-around, getting closer to 2,000 subs and a date with the Golden Corral. Catch you in the next one, and I'll see you when I see you.